So much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. And I am finishing part two of Watermelon Truck. And it's so exciting because the watermelon truck is full of bright colors. And I just love the colors. And as you can see, I've turned the picture upside down. No, I haven't turned upside down, but the picture has turned upside down. All right. Oh, I'm getting crazy today. Yes, well, you get to see my whole studio, it looks like. So, anyways, let me try to fix this just a little bit. These are some technical problems that I don't have anybody to help me with. So, I'm going to say I'm just going with it. Full screen, you get to see my beautiful, beautiful studio. So here I am with Watermelon Truck, and as you can see, the part one, what I did was I did a base coat of white, gesseled it, and then I put a background covering of a blue, a light blue, and then I started painting the watermelons. And why did I put the picture upside down? Am I losing it? No, I'm not losing it today, but there are some days that I just do lose it. But anyways, the reason I turn it upside down is because then you start really seeing shapes. You don't see objects. You want to see shapes. And so when you see shapes here, I can tell, well, some of those shapes are not correct and some of the shadows aren't in the right spot. And so I can go through and I can fix it. It's almost like setting it aside and making it work for you because you're going to fix it. You're going to somehow, get those colors right and get that picture right and finish your painting. That's what we all want to do, finish our paintings. So, let's get started. All right, I'm going to start off with my paints that I've already mixed up. And I use primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And use small amounts when I'm creating the colors because you don't want to waste any of your paints, which I never do anyways because I always mix up a nice black by the colors that are remaining. So what I have here is a truck. The truck needs to have some, it's a really old truck because it's from Morocco, and in Morocco they don't have the newest of things in some parts of the country. In other parts of the country, they're just like us, they love their things. And so I'm going to go through and start with a gray because there's a lot of gray in the truck. And this is got some red in it. So I'm going to put a little bit of gray here. I'm going to mix that color up a little bit better because I didn't like the way it was showing up on my brush. And I apologize if I was just a few minutes late. Better late than never is what I say. So then I'm going to go over here because this has got a lot of blue in it too. And right down here there's a nice shadow. And then there's some lighter colors like right in here. Looks like it probably needed a little paint job. And as you can see, I am bracing my arm against my body for more support. I want a little bit of light blue in there because I don't want it to be too much of a different color from what's on there already, even though I do want to have, some different tones in there. All right, then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go a little bit darker because I can. And I realize I need to go a little darker. There's some shadows in here, right in about this area. And it comes up and it comes around right about here. Now those shadows aren't quite as dark as I'd like them, so let me darken them up just a little. And then add some blue, some of that light blue on there. The color is going to start fading a little bit just because it's getting away, kind of getting away from the sun. And this comes up here in my picture, and the rail stops there. And so there's like a line, and I want to stop it right about here. Blend some of those in right there, and then get some more of that that pretty blue, because there's like, well, this dark blue here is a shadow, and so then the fender, and then you got the wheel in here. I'm not sure what this big blob of paint is. I'll have to fix that a little bit later because I am not for sure. All right, I'm gonna take my little liner brush and blend some of those colors in while they're still wet, because you're blending into dry colors, wet colors into dry, and so you do want to have some blending going in there. And this part of the truck has, let me get those lights in because then I can really see what I'm doing. This has got some red in here. Tail lights, of course. And I need a little bit bigger brush for that. That's why I'm always cleaning so many brushes. Every night, brush, brush, brush. And then I have to brush my teeth, so I'm cleaning another brush. Oh, am I complaining? Yes. Do you care? No. I understand. If you're an artist like me, then you know that's just part of the wardrobe. Now there's some purple that comes in here, purple shadow. And it's always nice to have purple shadows in here. Purple is a good color for a shadow. And then it comes around here, and then it comes around there, and then it stops. Oops, don't want to do that. Good thing I can blend it in with my fingers. There's a little purple here too, so I'm gonna just come up a little close to get some of that detail in there. Here as well. All right, and then there's another tail light that comes around here, and that one kind of goes like this and in there. So I'm gonna put purple on one side, and I'm not concerned at all about the colors that are going in there, because if I don't like them, guess what? I can change them. Now I just want to lighten that one up a little bit. It has a lighter color, like right around here. There's a dark color coming in there. And then it gets a little bit lighter, so I add some titanium white to it. Bring it around. All right. Yes. And then you also, if you can think about it, to put some white paper towels out. They're always good to have, because what the paper towels do is they determine, you can put it on the color on the paper towels before you put it on your canvas, and then save yourself some work. I'm just going to really go with some bright red, real thick paint in there for that tail light. All right, now I have a good reference, because I can always see that bright red color, and that's great to have a good reference, because then it's easier to find your point of reference for everything else. Now these colors here, I can kind of leave those a light blue. You don't have to cover up every single piece of your canvas with paint. That's sort of a beginner's thing. You got to put paint everywhere. Believe me, I've been there. I've done that. And then there's like a red fancy streak going in there. So I'm going to mix a little bit of red and purple. I'm going to get closer, try to not get some paint all over my shirt like I did the last time. Make that check. Move away from there for a second. Looks like my red's kind of dripping a little bit. And if you find paint's dripping, always push the lighter color into the dark. It's a lot easier to fix later. Okay. Just some tips as you go along, things that you realize that, you know, kind of trial and error type thing. And that's really what painting is all about, trial and error. And there's some lighter colors that come in here, so I'm going to brighten that up just slightly. And this has got, I'm going to bring that gray in here. And then as always, I always fix up the problems that I have a little bit later, and then I put the completed painting on YouTube. And then you can also go into my website, marriedart.com, and you'll find more delicious paintings that I have that I've been painting for a while. Okay, what is this big thing here? That's a tire. That's a wheel, actually. And it's got a little bit of red in it. I'm going to make that a really light color. So I barely have any paint on my brush. I'm going to add some gray to bring it around that wheel cover, that wheel area. It is such a beautiful day today. I wish I were able to get outside and do a lot more work outside, but my husband is the gardener and he does all that, so I don't have to. Oops, it looks like it's still dripping. I am just going upside down. It's an upside down day. All right, it is a really old truck. Get the bigger brush and go in with the blue. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to it just to bring some contrast in there. And then that comes around. There's some lighter colors in here. Looks like the paint is kind of worn down. And then just fill in some of the areas while you're there. Touch that up a little bit because I don't like it. And then I'll touch up those other colors a little bit later. This has got some gray in it, so I'm going to bring that down. It's like some sort of a post that came out. All right, so what am I going to do next? I'm going to do the wheel because I want to get that wheel taken care of. And yes, I talk to myself all the time. And I also answer myself all the time, but I know you don't do that, do you? Okay, so here's the wheel, and I'm just going to do like a light gray, and there's the, oh, I don't even know what that thing is called. And I'm going to do some, I like wiggles in my paint, because wiggles, I think, give your painting a lot of, and this is gallery style painting, it gives it a lot of style. I just like wiggle. I like the wiggle too. All right, and here's the rest of that tire right there, so I'm going to wiggle it. And then the other color is a much lighter, so I'm going to add some white in there. And that's like the, I can't think of what the word is. I'll think of it later, and then I will text you that answer. And then I want some more white in there, right in here, just to get some separation. Let me get a dry brush that I always use. I use a dry brush when I'm doing blending while the paint is just still slightly damp. And the dry brush, what it does is it blends those colors together without moving them around. And you do want those colors to blend in. I'm so excited that my next painting is going to be painting directly on from the projector onto a canvas. I am not even doing a pre-painting, which I've been doing many times with acrylics. I do a pre-painting. This time I am going for it, girl, big time. I am just going to take my projector and I am going to project, and I am going to be so excited because the best thing about using a projector is the colors are glamorous. They are so poppy, sparkly, clean. That's what I say, clean colors. If you can buy a projector, I would highly recommend it. It is one of my favorite tools to use ever. Ever use a projector. Okay, let's go into this area. So this area's got, oh, this is some more of that, let's see, right here is, it's like a tan going in there, a netting of some sort. So let me get that in there. That's right about here. So I'm just going to do a light netting, resting my finger on the canvas. And another good thing too is to, when you're doing some rusting, fall asleep. No, I'm just kidding. When you're trying to do detail work, you know, you want to get really close and you want it in the crook of your hand. You don't want the brush way over here because then it doesn't have a tendency to give you a straight line. But if you got it in the crook of the fingers, that's the best way. Look at that, I got paint all over me. Okay, all right, who cares? Let me go on, and this is a blanket that continues on, and there's a truck, and let me get some light blue, dark blue in there. Just because this painting needs some of that separation there. All right, blend some of this in here, give it a little contrast, blend it in together with my fingers, and then I'm going to go up here with the brush and get that, the rest of this white. It's, what is that? Okay, there's, this comes up here, whoops, and it's straight actually, so that needs to be blue. So let me get that in first. So I'm going to put this blue in here, continue out on those bed rails to the truck. And this is just, this image is just, it is, you don't have to put in every single thing when you're painting. It will drive you crazy, honestly. So just do, you know, just do what your gut tells you to do. And if your gut says, don't put that color in, don't put it in. You know, if it makes it look like, I'm going to lighten that up just slightly. Put some gray in there. And then I'm going to bring those lines back through here. And then there's a post that comes out there. And that needs to be put in. The last time I had the colors, what I did was, I covered up an old canvas because I didn't like the old picture. Can you believe that? Yes. And so I covered up the old canvas, and it's got lots and lots of bumps in it, which gives this picture so much character, because I feel like it's really, really old, you know, and I'm just fixing some of these. I feel like it's really old, which is what it was in Morocco, very, very old. All right, let me get the other wheel in, and the wheel well, and that thing I can't remember what it's called, that goes in here, right about there. I'm going to wiggle it, and then I'm going to wiggle it again, and then that comes lighter, right in here. It gets a little bit lighter, so let me lighten that up. I'm going to also start doing more portrait painting, because I love doing those portraits where you make the people's faces purple and blue and, you know, all kinds of crazy colors. What I need is like a silver color. So I'm going to do white with a little bit of red in there. Gray, I mean. Wiggling my brush. All right, and then the fender it's got some colors, some lighter colors going around here. So I'm going to bring those colors in here for the fender, and then add some more blue in there. I want to get that pretty dark blue because that's a beautiful color. Get that in there, go around that wheel. An old truck. I wonder what year this truck is. That's a good question. All right, this part here is, all right, there's the wheel, and the wheel, oh, that's what that is, I forgot. That's my shadow. So I got this color in here on the brush. It's a little too dark for me, so I'm going to take some of that paint off and lighten it up just slightly. All right, because that is a shadow, and I'm going to add some of that, purple color to the shadow. Hopefully you're not going to drip. Please don't drip. Now shadows are nice and flat, so you don't even have to worry about a stroke. You just go in there and do it. Straight shot. And then since this is gallery style, I'm going to go over to the top, put some of that color in, blend it in, just like that. And see, it's not going to go any further because what I did was I created a barrier. When you do something in a light color, when you do something in a really wet brush, and say you want your paint to stay in within an area, take a small brush and just wet it down. No paint whatsoever on it, and go around the circle object. It's a circle. And then you can wet your paint really well, and what happens is that it acts like a barrier and it won't go any further unless you got way too much paint in it. All right, so that's the wheel, and what is this part right here? I can't figure that out. All right, if I can't figure it out right now, I'll save that for later. Save it for another time. All right, the watermelon here, it is really not bouncing in the air, so let me fix that. Artists go all over their canvas. They never stay in one spot. You know, that's just how the eye likes to travel. Sort of like the internet. All right, that color I mixed up is way too dark, so I have to lighten it. I'm trying to get, and then I'm going to test it again on my paper towel. And it is, that's probably pretty close to the color I want. It's a strawy color, and straw's got some pink in it. Maybe a little dab of blue, because what blue will do is it'll tone that color down. All right, so let's go in here, and this is the straw, pinkish color. And then I'm just going to paint it, that whole thing, that color, and then I'm going to go through when that starts to dry a little bit, and then I'm going to make some really skinny marks on it. Lots of detail. All right, now some of that netting is also up here, and this is where the netting is as well. So I'm going to put that in there, bring some of that color there. And this netting is a little bit darker. So let me add just a little tiny bit of gray to that color that I mixed up. And there's also netting all around here. And you can use, like, cover it up, the whole thing up is what I like to do. Cover the whole thing up. And then put the detail in. Add some light texture to this color I'm putting in here, because the color is going to start to fade. And I even put some really heavy paints in there. Wiggle in the brush. Make it wiggle. Not me, the brush. Even though I like to wiggle too. Now that watermelon is not just sitting there on nothing. Okay, and then this watermelon, it goes in over this way. All right, and that's going to be, like I said, I'm going to be fixing that netting with some dark detail, and I have to actually do that sitting down because it's easier for me since my hand wiggles more than my booty. Did I say booty? Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. All right, let's get this fender bender in. And then there's some more of that straw coming out here. So I'm going to add some more of that color in that direction. Going around the side, grabbing that color, and then adding some of that color to here so it's not so different. Since this is kind of, well, this is actually a little bit lighter. So, and then this is kind of a bluish color in here. So I'm going to add some of that pretty blue that I have mixed up, but I'm going to lighten it. How do you lighten blue? What's the opposite of blue? Yellow. So you can lighten it up with yellow. Ah, that color is not as dark as I want it. Okay, let's try it again. A little bit darker. There we go. Whoops, wrong one. This one. I'll have to fix that a little bit later. Okay, and there's that. And there's some shadows in here. I kind of like that in there, that blue. Okay. And then this is the fender part, and this comes in here, and it gets shorter here, and there's a shadow right in there. And so I need to fill that shadow in, and then I'm also going to fill the shadow in and then put the straw in to make it more of a finished painting. Okay, now while I have this small brush out that I just grabbed, I'm going to get a fleshy color. And a fleshy color is going to be for the hand because the hand's right here. Let's see, how does it go? He's got one hand coming down here, one finger, and then the hand comes out like this. And you're just going to give it the feel of a hand, just the feel. And the hand is not going over the shirt. I will fix that, I promise. Because that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes it looks like, I'll set this down for a second. Sometimes in your painting it looks like the hand is going over the shirt, but the hand should be inside the shirt. So you have to figure out, how am I going to fix that? What do I need to do? Usually you have to contrast, do some contrasting, put like a lighter color of that what you're using, and then that way it gives it more of a contrasty type color. So let me go in here, do a little bit of this, bring some of these colors in this direction here, blend some of this in with this little blender brush that I really like. I'm going to fix that. There's some really light white in here, bright white I should say, and then I want to fix the hand so the shirt goes over the hand. Then I'm going to blend this color in here, and this is so easy to do when your paint is still wet, and you want those colors to be blending, blending, blending. And this is coming in here. There's, I think, a little bit, let's see, there's some dark color in there. That's a shadow, so I can go with the purple. So let me grab some of that purple over here on the side, and I can go in. Okay, where are you, hand? Right here. Then I'm bracing my wrist against my other wrist. Usually I would get my stick out. Then I'm going to bring some of that shadow up here and blend it in right in there. All right, then I want to kind of outline that just slightly. Blending it in with that blender brush. And it has a little paint on it. I don't want paint on it. I want it to be totally dry, so I'm pulling some of that paint off. Remember I said when you're blending things together, you're going to be blending the lighter color into the dark. Then I want to straighten this out a little bit right there. And that is, okay, that's the wheel cover. And then, oh yes, I was going to do that bright white in there. This brush already has a little bit of white and pink on it, so I'm going to clean it off really well. Actually, I have some clean water over here, so I'm going to reach over and grab some of that because I don't want any color on here. And I want to start lightening up those white colors. Okay, white, where did you go? Yes, right in here. This is really bright. I'm going to pull my picture down for a second. It accidentally ripped earlier, so there's some bright white right in here, right around here where the sun is full blast. And then it turns into a kind of a blue, and then it comes up here. Then I'm going to add a little bit more on the outside. Get some more of my bright white. Bring it in here, making those colors work. I really don't know what that is. It looks like it's his jacket or something that he took it off. Then I want to separate these colors a little bit right there. I got a lot of paint on this brush that I don't like. Put a little shadow in there. Little shadow never hurt. All right, and fix some of these colors over here since I have that color on my brush. Don't drip all over. I could paint 24/7, and I know you can too. You know, it's just one of those things that you pick up something and you love doing it, and you just find yourself doing it all the time, thinking about it at nighttime. How can I improve that picture? What are some of the things I can do to make it better? Then there's just like one dark strip of purple, like a shadow, and I'm going to put that in. I'm going to turn it right side up, and I know there's some tweaking that needs to be done. There's probably a lot of tweaking at this point. And I'm going to go over here. My darkest color is going to be right in here. And then just take my arm and brace it. And this is a flat color, so it doesn't need to be very, don't drip, don't drip, don't drip. Oh, you don't listen. Too much paint. It's just one of those days, folks. One of those days. It will be a better day tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. And then there's a shadow in here. So I'm going to bring that shadow in just like this. Not worried, bring it along the side because it is a canvas painting. All right, and I think I am pretty much done. This spot here, I'm going to fix that a little bit later. I don't like it, so I'm going to let it sit, and I'm going to let it simmer, and I'm going to let it cook, and I'm just going to stir it up tomorrow. Maybe tonight. I'll stir it up, stir it up. Yes, and so some of the things, I'm going to turn this right side up so you can see it, and please, it is not finished, that's for sure. Look at that beautiful watermelon truck. And look at all the gorgeous watermelons that are in there. You can just take it and reach. They're saying, take a bite out of me. And I would if they were here. And I would love to have a watermelon right now. You know, an ice cream cone too. All right, so some of the problems that are in here is, and this is filled with problems because it's been a problem type day, is I'm not worried much about the truck. I'm going to fix this area over here. The watermelons are going to brighten up because I realized from my first painting I did, the watermelons were extremely, extremely bright, and I dulled the colors down, and that's what you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to let those colors just sparkle, you know, because these were sparkling watermelons. And so I'm going to fix that. You know, you can see in here, this is the one I did. I did this one, and that camera wants to keep moving. It's being silly. Okay. All right, stay. This is the one I did with my Inspire projector, and the colors are vibrant. Absolutely vibrant. And I don't sell Inspire projectors, but I would highly recommend it. If that's one tool that you could use to help improve your art, because it shows you the form, and it shows you depth, it shows you everything that you're looking for in a good painting. So please, you know, if you don't have a projector, you can put a picture up against the wall, let the light shine through, you know, and trace it. You can use one of those old slide projectors. You know, I started off with a really cheap projector from Hobby Lobby, and it was like $35, you know, but it did the job. So it helps you to understand, you know, where does the color, where it's curving, because it's creating curves, how you're creating those curves, how you're creating the squares and the circles and the diamond shapes and all those good shapes. So yes, highly recommend that. Some other tips I recommend is look for patterns within your art. Your art needs to have patterns throughout it. Some of the colors are repeated over and over again. Try to find the pattern to the colors. Don't believe the lie Satan tells you that you can't be successful, because you can. You can be a very, very successful person in your artwork, but you have to give it time. You don't become a master artist, within a year or even 2 years. I've been painting for a while now, and I know that it just takes time. Please don't give up. I don't want you to give up. Nobody wants you to give up. And what I do is I close my sessions with the dance, and I always, say, lean on somebody at this time, this really difficult time. Find that family member, find that friend, neighbor. Maybe your child needs leaning on you. So find those ways that you can show kindness. And so I'm going to reach over out of your sight for a second. I'm going to cue up my music. You can't see me. Oh, the camera's going to follow me. So you can see me, but you can't see what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Grab your brushes. Don't sweat the small stuff. I'm Mary Boehme from The Bliss of Art. I love painting, and I hope that you're going to join me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Central Time, because I would love for you to be my partner in painting, not in crime, in painting. I have a YouTube channel that has 30 plus videos on it, so please visit my YouTube channel. I'm begging you, please subscribe. Please put a little comment on there, and eventually I'm going to get to where I can do a live chat with you, but I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm going to do it eventually. So let me grab down here and get my tissues, because you know what makes a tissue dance? The boogie! Would somebody please turn out the lights? Oh, I forgot. I'm the only one here. Oh.